comic addicts, it's Joe with Black Box Silver and Bronze, and I have got an amazing stack of comics to share. So let's check them out. Hey comic addicts, it's Joe, and this stack of comics is just amazing. I can't wait to share them with you. And I don't know what's happening. I'm not really actively looking for these. They're just coming to me. And people are sharing listings with me. They're telling me about them. I'm just stumbling upon them randomly. They're popping up in my feed, things for sale. And right now, there are such killer deals on comics. I'm actually trying to stop for a while to spend money. I got some other things I got to spend money on, but I just keep finding these comics at like incredible deals that I can't pass up. So I've got some from eBay, some from Instagram, some from mycomicshop, some from comic shops, trades with friends. So let's get into it. So the first thing I have is a stack of 8 Tijuana Bibles. And Tijuana Bibles were these little comics. They were also referred to as 8-pagers or 2x4s or blue Bibles. A lot of them are blue. And they were basically from the 1920s through the early 1960s. And after that, they didn't really make them anymore, but they're explicit sexual escapades. They're very obscene. And they were sold under the counter for like 25 cents at places where men would go, like bars and clubs and things like that. A lot of times they're referred to as the first underground comics. And they're even in popular culture. It was referred to in the Watchmen comic book and in Stephen King's The Green Mile. Someone was reading one of these. But I found this, I just stumbled upon this. There was a deal of 8 of them. It cost me less than $4 a piece, and they usually go like for a minimum of $30 a piece up to hundreds of dollars. So this one included Archie, Sweeney and Son, Chigs and Maggie, Popeye the Sailor, Boots, Count Screwloose, Dick Tracy, and Ella Cinders. And there was one extra one in there. The cover was missing. That was an unbelievable deal. And it's an amazing piece of comic history. Then the next thing was a trade with my good friend Steven. He's Collecto6 on Instagram. And if you're on Instagram, you should sub him up because you're going to see amazing comics that he has in his collection. But he gave me this U.S. Soldiers in Action. It's a Whitman children's book. It's got art in it. It's not a comic book, but this is from 1944. And he gave me a U.S. Flyers in Action, also from 1944. And there are several other books that are in this series. There's like U.S. Navy in Action, U.S. Army in Action, U.S. warplanes in action, U.S. bombers in action, and U.S. sailors in action. And I had duplicates of some of those. I think it was an Army in Action and a Sailors in Action that I traded him for these two. And it's interesting because they have these numbers at the top, like this one says 781, and this one says 784. And so 780 is the U.S. bombers in action, and then 781's the flyers in action. And there's a, I don't know, is there a 782? That would be another one for me to find. 783 is sailors in action. And then you've got 796 Navy in action, 797 Army in action, And then there's a 798 War Plates in action. So is there a 799? I don't know. The artwork is beautiful. They have wraparound covers. Okay, here's the front of this one, and it wraps around to here. Okay, and that was by August Schomburg. And so if you go through here, there's some like here's like a centerfold double page spread, which was also by August Schomburg. And here's one by Alex Schomburg. It's gorgeous. And in the Soldiers in Action, same thing. Okay, this is by August Schomburg. There's the back and the front. And if you check out some of these spreads, look at this amazing spread by Alex Schomburg. And let's see if there's another one here. There's another one by Alex. So these two particular ones were done by Alex and August Schomburg. The other ones were done by other artists, but they're just as spectacular. So keep an eye out for those if you're interested in World War II stuff. Then this is something I've been finding lately, which is pretty cool. It's called The Catholic Miss. This issue is from January of 1949. And some of these covers are just really cool. This skiing cover, I think, is really cool. And in here is an ongoing comic story called Lorna Lane, Air Hostess. It's about 6 or 8 pages, and it continues, issue to issue. And here's the January of 1954 issue. Cover's not as good, but it does have the Lorna Lane story in there, as well as another one called Judy in the Kitchen, which is in some of them. Seems like Lorna Lane is in all of them, at least the ones that I have, and Judy in the Kitchen appears in some of them. This next comic is the Demon Annual #2 from 1983, and this is the first appearance of Hitman. And I found out about this comic book from a YouTube channel called The Comic Samurai, and you should check him out. He is a very enthusiastic presenter of his comics. He loves comics. He loves the storylines, loves the artists. And he has this series called Hidden Gems, which is my favorite one that he does. And he shows about 5 or 10 comics that are kind of like underrated. You could get them for a good price. Not a lot of people know about them, but they got these great stories in it. And so he presented this one on his channel. That's where I found out about that. This is a new comic, just came out, and it's made to look like Tales of the Crypt #41. And it says Betty and Veronica up there, but the actual title of this is Archie and Friends Hot Summer Movies. And I picked this one up from a website called Comic Book Exclusives. And that's a Bill Galvin cover. And there were 150 of these in the print run. It's just from July of this year. This is Uncle Scrooge #295 from December of 1995. And I found out about this from Kevin Taylor. He's got a YouTube channel, and he's got an Instagram channel called Trophy Comics. And he always presents comics that have won awards, like the Eisner Award or Best Artist this, Best Story that. And so I found about this from him. This is actually a ongoing series in this title that ran from issue number 285 to 296. It was called The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck. And you could tell the ones that are part of this series because it has this, circular portrait here with the year of, the story that's going on. And so I'm trying to put that run together. This particular issue is a lot more expensive than the rest. Most of them you can get for a very low cost, but this one is a little bit more because of that image there of that native following him. And Disney's not allowing this to be printed anymore. There's going to be no reprints of this one because of that image, even though when you were a kid, you would see images of like natives in South America or Africa in National Geographic. Now it's taboo. The next one is another Uncle Scrooge, and this is Uncle Scrooge #1. And this is a beautiful Del Auto variant cover. And this is from October of 2020, and it reprints issue #1 from April of 2015. But really quite a cover. And this was from Scorpion Comics. It was a Scorpion Comics exclusive. And thanks to Alan, the comic collector geek, who showed me the listing for that one. This comic I found out about from Night Tiger, Mike Smith.
You never know what you're missing.
Had a show recently, and I think it was showing comics from the 80s. I think that's the show where I saw this, but this is Wonder Woman #288 from February of 1982. And you see here, it says the sensational new Wonder Woman. So this is a pretty cool comic because it's a comic book that starts with a new logo. And there's a first appearance of a character named Silver Swan in here. But the main thing that's really cool is her costume. And so this is the first issue where she has the Wonder Woman WW on her chest. They redesigned the costume to put the WW on across her chest like that. And so that's a really cool issue. Next up is PT-109. My son is very interested in this story, PT-109, so he got me interested in it. And this is the Gold Key movie comic from 1964, which basically told the story of PT-109 regarding the Warner Brothers movie, PT-109, starring Cliff Robertson. And it's really got this beautiful, beautiful painted cover. And there are at least 3 comics that I know of that tell the story of PT-109, which is this Gold Key version. And then I have another comic, which is from Charlton, called War Heroes. It's issue #2 from April of 1963, and that tells the story of PT-109. And then I'm also looking for the Dell comic that tells the story of PT-109. It's in a comic book called Combat, and it was in issue #4 of June of 1962. And then they reprinted it. The later issues of Combat reprinted the earlier issues of Combat. So there's issue #30 from 1971, also tells PT-109. This next comic I found out about from Steve at I Love Disney and Comics. And it's Don Winslow of the Navy, #27 from July of 1945. And he had picked up an issue because he likes to get the historical World War II issues that talk about the 7th War Loan or have the war bonds on them or the war letters. And so he picked up an issue of this, and I commented on it that it was really cool and that I want to find a copy. And he came across another listing, I don't know, maybe like a week later, and he sent it to me. He said, "Hey, Joe, here it is if you want it." So I was able to snag that. And this is a really nice copy. It's in really, really great shape. So really happy to have this one. Thank you, Steve. Something that's cool about this is right here inside the front cover is a advertisement that is talking about how you can collect waste paper and take it to a paper drive to help in the war effort. And it's really paints the Japanese as the enemy here, where it says you can send another Jap to Davy Jones's locker right there across the top. See that? Down at the bottom, it says, "Get in the scrap and lick a Jap." And some of the other things it says in here is scuttle the Nip Navy. So they're definitely a sign of the times. All right, this next one I picked up is Unknown World. Now, this is a really beat copy. You can see all the chipping across the top. And I don't know if it's showing up, but it's taped down the spine. I think you can see that. The back is kind of chipped. The bottom is chipped. But that main image is intact there. And this is from June of 1952. It's a Norman Saunders painted cover. And this cover just spoke to me. When I saw this, I was like, that is so cool. I mean, there are so many of the pre-code horror comics that are very desirable and very expensive, particularly in the EC run. But this is just killer. I mean, you got a ghost skeleton passing through the door, chasing the typical woman in the red dress. And it is just really cool. The stories inside are really great too. Really fun comic. This is by Fawcett. Here's another one that came to me from another friend. Night Tiger sent me this one as well. This is Frankenstein number 22. Mike knows that I'm interested in these Golden Age Frankenstein comics, and he sent me a listing for this low-grade copy. This is from January of 1953. You can see it's signed by Dick Briefer there. He's very well known for doing these Frankenstein comics. And these are very, very pricey in high grade. So I was really happy to be able to find this affordable copy. You can see it's got issues. It's missing a chunk out of the top there. The cover is detached. There's some situations going on down here with some rubbing and over here. But man, that main image is right there. It's a complete comic. All the story is in there. I love this cover. He's crawling through the graveyard. And it's like the Frankenstein movie where the villagers are chasing them, with the pitchforks and the torches. You got the tombstone over here. You've got the grave with the skeleton in the grave. Just a killer cover. And I got it for the opening bid. Nobody else bid on that. All right, we're going to get into some big comics now. And the first one is this one. This is Jetta number 7. And this is from April of 1953. It's Dan DeCarlo art on that. It's kind of like Archie, but, futuristic in space. It's from Standard Comics. And there were only 3 issues of this. This is issue number 7. It started at issue 5, so 5, 6, and 7. And these are tough to get, and they're kind of pricey. So I have finally completed the run of Jetta. I have all 3 issues. All 3 of my issues are all low grade, but they all present very nicely. Boy, I've been really lucky to find issues that present well. So I'm really happy to complete that run. And then as I can, I'm trying to fill in like early Green Lantern and early Flash issues. It's kind of like Spider-Man, like every early issue has a key first appearance in it. So it's tough to find them at fair prices. They're all pretty pricey, but every once in a while I stumble upon one. And so I add it to my collection. And so here is Green Lantern number 5 from April of 1961. That's Gil Kane art on the cover. And this is the first appearance of Hector Hammond. This is the lowest issue number of Green Lantern that I have, other than the facsimile of number 1. As I find them, I'm going to keep filling them in. All right, this next comic I'm about to share with you, I'm really excited to have. It's StarSpangled Comics, issue number 123 by DC from December of 1951. And that gentleman in the blue coat there, that's his second appearance, the Ghost Breaker, Dr. 13. He made his first appearance in the previous issue, number 122. StarSpangled Comics ran 130 issues from number 1 to 130. So this is towards the end of the run of that series. And then in issue number 131, they changed the title to Star-Spangled War Stories, and that ran for 3 issues. And then they renumbered Star-Spangled War Stories, starting with issue number 3. So there's kind of 2 issue number 3s of Star-Spangled War Stories, and then that continued. And so these Star-Spangled comics are awfully tough to find, especially the later issues. And Dr. 13 was in all the issues up until it became Star Spangled War Stories, starting with number 122. So I'm trying to collect those, and it's really tough. You hardly ever see these. They're hardly ever for sale on any of the auction sites, comic shows. So I've been lucky. Recently, I was able to find the previous issue and now this one. So I have the first two issues of Dr. 13. Another cool issue I got was Blackstone Master Magician. This is my second copy of this. It was a really good deal. It was too good to pass up. So I snagged this. This is Blackstone Master Magician, number 3 from July of 1946. It's by Vital Publications. It's got a really cool back cover where it's Blackstone Magician and a train. It's not a wraparound cover, but it's really just as cool as this front cover. It's really a very, very cool comic book. This is The Strange World of Your Dreams, issue number 1. Another comic I'm so happy to have. This is a Jack Kirby cover, Jack Kirby pencils with Joe Simon inks. And this is from August of 1952. It's by Prize Comics, and it's got this crazy cover on there. So it says, "We will buy your dreams, details inside." And this only ran for 4 issues. So there was 4 issues of this, and I have completed the run of this too. It's been tough to get issue number 1 for me, but now I have issue number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I picked up number 4 from Jesse Simon, and it has a Joe Simon signature in it, so I think that's really cool too. So I've completed 2 runs that I've been hunting, the Jetta and the Strange World of Your Dreams, and I'm hoping to make more progress on the Dr. 13 Star Spangled Comics. Very cool EC horror title, The Vault of Horror, and this one is not one of the super pricey ones, but it's one that's kind of tough to find for a fair price, because the ones that are in higher condition are pretty pricey. This is the one that I wanted. It's a train situation where the passengers on the train or subway see this one severed hand hanging there from the grip. Really cool, from April of 1953 with a Johnny Craig cover. And another comic that just popped up at the right price, so I had to finally add it to my collection. Another thing that just it popped up, it was the right price, and I never had even seen this one before, but it was too cool at the price to not get it. It's Blue Beetle, number 32. And this is Fox Comics, Fox Feature Publications from July of 1944. And you've got the Blue Beetle there with the Nazis around, and he's punching Hitler in the face. So I don't know. It's kind of like the poor man's Captain America comics number 1, where Captain America's punching Hitler in the face. But it's a great cover. It's really cool. And so I was really stoked to find this one. And it was not one I was looking for. It's just the listing was there. I didn't even know about this comic, but the listing was there, and there was a make an offer, and I made an offer, and I got it for a really good price. And it's so cool. So that's the 3rd issue that I have in the Blue Beetle series. Something else. I never knew about this, but I saw it, and the price was decent, so I went ahead and snagged it. And so this is called Scoops. This is the first issue of Scoops. It's a British sci-fi magazine with this killer robot cover on it. And this is from February 10th, 1934. There you go, 1934. So this was a SciFi Weekly paper for boys that came out in the UK. And there was an auction for this one, which was the one I wanted, but it also included issue number 2. So I got the first 2 issues. This is another cool cover, although I really liked the robot cover, which was the one once I saw it, I really wanted it. And this is from February 17th of 1934. So I've got issue number 1 and 2 of this sci-fi magazine from 1934. That's crazy. It didn't last that long. It ran 20 issues and ended in the 23rd of June, 1934. It was published by Arthur C. Pearson, and there is one more that I'm looking for. Issue number 10 from April of 1934 has another killer robot cover, so hopefully I'll be able to find that one. All right, comic addicts, we're almost done. I'm going to end with 4 slabs and just some killer books in here, okay? The first one, and I have to thank Steven Collecto6 to let me know about this one, was Action Comics number 1053 with this beautiful Power Girl cover by Will Jack. And this is from East Side Comics. It's an East Side Comics exclusive. And Steven picked up a copy of this and he sent me a picture. He's like, hey, look what I got. I was, that is really cool. And he got it. The price was unbelievable. And so I started searching it up, and the seller that he bought this from had 2 copies. Steven bought one. I bought the other. And they were like, if I recall, they were like half the price of all the other ones that were being sold. And it's just a really gorgeous, well done Power Girl cover. I picked this one up, Incredible Hulk number 5. And it's slabbed at a 3.5. And this is from January of 1963, Marvel Comics, obviously. It's got the stamp up there. It's somebody's personal stamp. Gentleman named Rick Cross from Spokane, Washington. It looks like it's a little smudge, but it looks like Spokane, Washington. But if you can't afford Hulk number 1, then this is the 5th best thing. And so it's really well presenting. And I just think it's really cool to have, you know, these early Hulks. I think it ran 6 issues, 5 or 6. I think it was 6 issues. And then it stopped, and, you know, Hulk came back and Tales to Astonish and ultimately had his own title. But this is a first appearance of Tyrannus, Jack Kirby and Dick Ayers cover and art. And really cool to have an early Hulk in my PC. Maybe one day I'll have number 1. That is a Silver Age comic I really would like to own, but not right now. And then the last 2 I got from a seller on Instagram who is a very nice gentleman who he and I found out we were both naval aviators, so we had a nice connection, and he gave me a really good deal on these next 2 comics. And the first one is Brick Bradford, number 6. And this is a nice 5.5 copy. It's by Standard Comics from October of 1948. And it's got this really classic robot cover on it. And that is Alex Schomburg art on the cover. This is a comic I never thought I would own in my collection, but like I said, he gave me a really good deal and allowed me to do time payments on it. And so really thrilled to have this one. And I made a deal with him on this one. And he was trying to sell a bunch of books so that he could pursue a bigger book. And he said, are there any others that you're interested in? I'll give you a good deal. I said, well, there is, but I don't think I could afford it right now. And he said, well, tell me what it is. So I told him. And that's how we worked out the time payments. He gave me a good deal and time payments. So this is the last book I have for the haul, but it is, I saved the best for last. This is Blue Beetle number 54 from March of 1948. It's from Fox Comics, and it's a Jack Kamen cover. And you got the girl who's posed there in front of the mirror, getting dressed or undressed, not sure what's happening there, but you got this killer sneaking up behind her with the knife in hand. And if you notice, Alan and some other folks have pointed this out, that in the mirror, she's got her bikini top on, or her brassiere, but in her back to us, there's no straps across the back. And the other thing about this was that it was used in the seduction of the innocent. There's a hanging panel inside too, which is notated up there. So I'm just letting you savor this for a while because it's really cool. This is like now one of the prize comics in my collection. So that's it, comic addicts. That was a big stack of comics that I've been amassing over the past month or two, and happy to share them with you. Tell me what you think, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.